Good morning, and welcome back to Jody Lewis Creations. In today's video, we are going to be working on this new table, and I have it covered in a, what you call it? Tablecloth, a yard sale tablecloth, plastic tablecloth, that's the word, because I'm going to be making a little bit of a mess. So I want to pull out some scraps. We're going to pull out some inks. We're going to pull out some whatever we want to play with and just kind of get messy in whatever surface this allows me to do. It's going to be a way to use up some scraps. We're going to make some fodder. I want to make some die cuts for a particular project, some flowers and stuff. And so, yeah, so what's going to happen is I'm going to get some things laid out, pick out my colors of things that I want to use as far as my inks and sprays and stuff like that. And we're going to work on this table. I don't care about this tablecloth. The last one I had lasted me a really long time, and I only threw it away after the actual color from the tablecloth started transferring to my papers. So I think I got this for 50 cents or something at a yard sale. So these are great tablecloths to use for your projects to protect your surfaces and not worry about spending $5 or $6 on something and they were going to throw it away. So rather than let it get thrown away, I brought it home for a purpose, and I didn't buy a new one because I figured at some point I would source another one. So anyway, enough said about that. Let me get some things on the table, find some gloves, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have some Lindy's Magicals that I seldom work with. I don't fully understand them. So one of the things in 2025 I want to do is use the things and learn some things. Don't you like that? How vague that was? Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I have a really funky setup with the camera. I haven't quite figured out how to attach it to this table yet because there's not enough lip on it. So please bear with me. I have some Scorched Timber Stain and Oxide. I have Walnut Stain Oxide, Uncharted Mariner Oxide, Lost Shadow Stain, and Rusty Hinge Stain. What I did not grab was my black soot, but I'm not sure that I want to use black soot today. So what I want to do is, because we've already done the full deck challenge with orange, well, there's a random yellow, so it's out. We're going to use it because that's actually uploading right now, is the yellow prompt. What we're going to do is I'm just going to spread these bits of cardstock out and see what happens with them. So I'm going to spread these out. These two pieces are just some regular copy paper that I have sprayed with stains, like sprayed with oxides a really long time ago. I know what I'm missing. Microphone. Hang on. Okay, so I have some gloves here. And again, these are just my Harbor Freight gloves. We got them on sale. I don't know how much they were. And you could be different. Oh my gosh, I just put that on. I'm like, why won't my pinky go in there? Because I had it in the thumb hole. Oh, yes, it has been that kind of day already. Okay, so I'm just going to spread these out. And Chloe's around here somewhere. Now, I have like this tiny scrap of orange. Do I really think I need to fuss with that? And this is adhesive vinyl. So those are not pieces that I'm going to try to change the color of. But the rest of these, I think, are big enough pieces, different variety of weights and stocks and finishes and stuff like that. So even though this is like a long skinny strip, it's fine because I want to cut I just want to cut some pieces. I just want to, use my dies and cut some pieces. And this is a little wide. I have to be mindful of the space out, I don't want this all the way on the edge of my table. And then I'm trying to spray it with inks and stuff because then it's going to get on the carpet. And while it's not new carpet in here intentionally, I still don't want to get ink all over it if I can help it. So I just want to have kind of an area here. And the reason I want them kind of close together is so that way I can limit my spraying area. It actually is less waste by doing it this way. And then don't worry, whatever's left on the table, we will mop up with something. Okay. So just get my pieces how I like them. ish. I mean, it's not a perfect system, right? And we're using scraps. We're just doing something with scraps. And I don't have any idea how this orange is going to work, but as we figured out with the orange full deck challenge, orange is not my color. So let's have some fun, see what happens. So Lost Shadow is not really showing up on the orange for sure. I'm having some curling issues with some of these papers, so I just want to spritz the back of them a little bit. It's going to make it more difficult to dry them by doing that, but that's okay. It does help with, it has to do with like the fibers, and I don't really understand the science, but it's like it contracts. And then I do have a video that I haven't uploaded yet. I did kind of start a project. It is a design team project. And I had cut my pieces down 8.5 by 9. And lo and behold, when I sprayed them and inked them and stained them, they actually shrank. So they're a little bit smaller than the 8.5, which is kind of frustrating because I had wanted to, why would I use Rusty Hinge on orange? Let's see what happens. Don't waste the good Rusty Hinge, Jody. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, they shrank. So when I was using my my 8.5 by 11 papers, oh, that oxide's crazy. Oh, that's why. I'm getting some funky colors here because of the orange background, and stuff isn't behaving like what I'm expecting it to look like when it hits the paper. And so it's throwing me off for sure. Okay, so what we're going to do here is dry these a little bit and see what happens. Now this is just bubbling, which I find interesting. So maybe this paper has a plastic coating or something on it. I'm really not sure what's happening there. Hopefully you guys can see. Got my heat gun here. I'm just gonna start drying them a little bit, seeing what kind of reactions we're getting with the different colors. Okay, so you can see I went and got the little hands. I don't know that these are the most effective tool. They are really cute, but I don't love them. But obviously heat on plastic gloves is a bad idea. So make sure you are very careful if you're going to do something like this, and wear gloves too. Normally I wouldn't care about my hands being stained, but as I said in the yellow video, I got myself pretty good on my left hand the other day, and so I do still have a band-aid on that finger. Hopefully today will be the last day for that. I'm still not loving these really bright orange pieces. This lighter color orange is really getting some cool color in it. It's getting the oxidation, which I find very, very interesting. No, I don't, because I grabbed oxide spray, not stain. So never mind. I was like, that's really interesting, the Uncharted Mariner and what it's doing. But I grabbed this oxide, not the spray stain, which I knew that I did that. So I don't even know why I'm saying like, oh, whatever. Okay, but I'm going to get some gesso, and I'm just going to get my plastic cutting board here. And these two pieces, honestly, they're not doing what I want them to do. So I'm not sure what I want to do with them. If I just want to put them in the recycle bin or what. I mean, I could use the white sides of them, but then I still have to cover the back sides, and they are coated with a little bit of plastic. And I am clearing out my room, so I have to make some decisions. And why let it take up space if it's not something that I love? So boom, decision made. Okay, I have somewhere some rolled up bits of parchment. No, I don't. They're over there. But what I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of gesso to the cutting mat, which I will show you. I realize I'm not on screen with that. So I just have a little bit of gesso here. I'm going to add some water to it. And I don't have any paper towels in here because I'm super smart like that today. I'm going to just thin that down a little bit. I just sprayed it with some water, and I'm just using my finger, and I don't need a lot. I really don't need a lot. And this is going to pick up the inks and oxides, which I absolutely want that to happen. We are just really having a play here. And maybe you're new to your sprays and oxides and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of a neat way to play with them. And it just get your stuff out and play. That's the moral of the story. Let me crinkle this up. Yeah. Ooh, I'm getting gluey bits off of it. So this is Christmas in July scrap stuff. And I am going to dip my parchment in my glue. And I'm going, or in my gesso, excuse me. And I'm just going to randomly, I'm not even thinking about it, trying not to splatter ink all over the carpet because that will get me in trouble. That's all right. I could stand for getting in some trouble. It would do me good, probably. Oh, anyway. So getting messy for me sometimes, it truly is a release. And, you know, if you've been following me, you know that I'm really having a hard time right now. And I told Mark this morning, I said, oh my gosh, my channel is not going to survive off 2 videos per week. I have got to get up and do something. And then I was talking to my friend the other day, and she goes, ooh, you should do a video on that. And I was like, okay. But it has taken, I mean, literally, we talked about this last week, and it has taken me until today to actually get the gumption to come in here and do it. And so I do need to do my design team project for Tracy. And God love her. She knows I'm trying to find my mojo right now. And she's been really sweet about it. So I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful to be on her design team. And just I cannot express enough what a kind, generous person I think she is. And she's so giving to the creative community. And I'm just very thankful to have made a connection. Not just with her, but with so many wonderful creatives in the community. And yeah, I'm just very thankful. These days, I try to find something every day to be thankful for. And today, I'm just thankful for the connections that I've made. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to dry this gesso. Oh, this is going to be really fun because that is interacting with all of that ink underneath. And what it's going to do also is when we put our next layer on, it's going to give us a completely different effect than the just spraying directly on the card. So that's going to be fun as well. So another round of drying getting ready to happen here. I need another light on. I realize I don't have all of my lights on, so hopefully this will be better for you guys. Sun is, of course, not shining, so hopefully that's better for you to see. I apologize. I had one light on, but I'm not at the normal table, so I didn't turn all of them on. Okay, so I didn't completely dry them all, and you can see they're curling every which way. So on some of them, you'll see I'm heating from the underside, and that also helps kind of straighten them out a little bit, or in theory it does. And so I'm going to continue to dry these few. Then I'm thinking about what colors I want to bring in here. And I know I'm mostly working with inks, but I am going to end up bringing some acrylics in. And maybe you don't have all the inks and sprays, but you've got some acrylics. You know, you've got some apple barrel paint from Walmart, or you have something you found and it's acrylic tubes, or you can use whatever you want to do this and transform your bits into something that you would like to use better. And I just am pulling scraps out of my scrap bin because I need to thin that down. It's like out of control. So that's what I'm using. But if you you buy a paper pad, and inevitably almost every paper pad, I won't say every single paper pad, but almost every paper pad has ugly paper in it. I mean, that's just the reality of the paper pads, especially the ones that we're buying at the box craft stores, right? And so this is a really great way to transform those as well. You can collage on these. I could have collaged on them and added a little bit more texture, which would have been a good idea, and maybe we'll do that in another video. But in this video, I wanted to just work with
the orange cardstock itself and see how we could transform it. But really your options are limitless. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, this yellow one is my favorite one so far. The lighter color ones, I feel like I'm getting more interest on them, but I think part of that is just my affliction to this color orange. I just, ugh. Okay, have I said it enough? It's not my thing. Okay, so let's continue drying and see what we can get. And see, I tap that down and you can see here, now that's given me some really cool texture because that was partially dry. And by doing that, it gave this more interest, more texture. So I really like that. And then it's actually doing the same thing on this piece where I have pushed it into. So you get extra interest that way. There's just so many ways you can add interest to your papers. I'm telling you, your options are endless and you truly only are limited by your own imagination. And this is just a wonderful way to play and learn. It really is, because let's be honest, these are scraps. I could have just tossed them, even though some of them are really good usable sizes. But again, orange. So, all right, back to drying. Okay, so they're dry enough. And I am thinking, I'm trying to decide, do I really want to bring black soot in or not? And I don't think I dried this piece at all. It's really wet still. I'll tell you, this one is quickly becoming one of my favorite pieces. It's really getting some interest with the gesso and how the gesso has pooled on there. And then by blotting the extra off, I've got the glue from the parchment papers trying to stick to it, which is kind of fun because the glue got soft from the wet of it. Like this piece, I don't know why that's glued together, but is that really a usable bit? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to leave it because now it's like got all this interest on it. I probably should have left it taped for ease of working with it, but am I that smart? No. Okay, so let's do a little bit more of our inks on here and see what that's going to give us. I'm just basically going to repeat the process. I definitely want to spray the inks first because I want the oxide to sit on top. I know I did all that work to dry them, right? So that my layers would be dry, but now I'm wetting again. So this is not something you want to do if you only have 5 minutes to create. Unless you want to spray it, walk away, let it dry, come back, spray it. Of course, those are always options that you have. So I shouldn't say don't, because I want you to create even if you only have a couple of minutes. This lost shadow just really doesn't show up, but that's okay. So some lost shadow. I think I am going to come back in with a little bit of the rusty hinge because I want to see what happens now that we've added some gesso. But again, I'm totally hoarding this rusty hinge because I wanted it for a really, really long time. And it's like, now that I finally have it, I need to use it. That's one of the things, like, because if we don't use our favorite things, then what are we left with? We're left with the things that are not our favorites. And then that steals the joy of creating. So don't hoard all your favorite things, right? Use them. Because that's why we buy them, because we love them and want to use them. Even though I do really like my shelf with all the sprays over there. It's a lot of fun. But the moral of the story is to use the things that we have. And by using them, they don't go bad. They don't dry up, which I had to throw away both of my matte gels. I had regular and ultra thick, and both, luckily they were both down to like a half of an inch in the jars, or in the, the bins, the containers that they were in. But it really hurt to toss them. But they were beyond being able to rehydrate them. My black gesso is also beyond, and I have to get rid of that. So I am probably not going to buy black gesso anymore. I'll just use black acrylic paint. And yeah, so just things to be mindful of in our stuff, definitely. Okay. I am really liking this a lot. I'm really getting some interest in here with that gesso. I'm going to be really excited to get these dry. And even these super orange pieces now are starting to take on a new life. by adding the gesso and adding more layers of the inks and stuff. If you don't have the patience to do this, then by all means use your acrylics, because your acrylic is thicker. It's going to cover it. You're going to get more instantaneous results, I think. You're going to get a different result, but it would be an option. Okay, so now I want to come in. I think I want to dry these again, and then I'll come in with some oxides. This one's got some really good interest going on. I'm really liking the way and I think maybe because the colors keep pooling, so it's getting really dark in those areas. I'm not sure, but I'm getting some good interest there. I didn't fully or completely dry this. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. I'm going to come back in. I am going to come back in and spray a little bit more. Now I'm going to come in with the oxides, I think. And again, all this ink that's on the tablecloth itself, I'm not worried about that. It's going to get mopped up. You'll see that at the end. I will get some paper and I'm just going to spray it and mop it. And then it's going to pick a lot of that up. And then I'll just clean up what is left. So I'm just doing another squirt of water here. And I want to come in with my Uncharted Mariner, which I don't even think I shook this to begin with. So do make sure you're shaking your oxides, because it settles in the bottom, and you want to make sure that all that pigment gets to where you're spraying with it, and it's coming out. Oh yeah. That looks like it's heavy, but I don't think it's that heavy. I think it's going to be awesome. I don't know where that cut out, but hopefully it's all right. I hit my maximum length for filming, and so it shut the camera off automatically. So hopefully that's not going to be a terrible transition. I've been trying to watch. I only realized the other day that it would do that, but I don't typically film in just one continuous segment. So we learn. So I'm pretty sure that you cannot see what's going on here, but the oxide is really, really spectacularly sitting on top of the paper, and it really is giving a very interesting effect. I'm really liking that a lot. Let me actually take you down off the holder. Okay, so you can see here the white bit, or they look like they're white bits, but that is the pigment that's like floating on top of the water that I have sprayed on these. So it's really interesting what it's doing. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So I'm really hoping that the angle of the camera is showing you just the transformation. It's probably not the angle that's going to show you details, but it's certainly going to show you just kind of the process and how these are changing as I'm working on this. I almost didn't flip the camera. You were almost just watching the wall. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you talking to? Oh, what's up?
Moving the table, huh?
I needed to be able to film. This table doesn't have enough ledge to put my holder on, so I'm precariously using a book.
Oh,
I mean, it is working right now. It's a weird angle, though, like to see. So then you couldn't see this end of the table. It's like kind of a weird.
you can't.
I probably should have used a bigger stack of books and done it, but that's just in the moment what I can think of, because my brain capacity is like 0 right now. So that's what I could do.
What about putting it on here? Flipping that thing on here.
I didn't realize.
Well, I get paid the big bucks.
Yes, you do. Okay, thanks. Oh my gosh. You're the best. Sometimes you just need another brain to help you out. Okay, So my shadows are weird again now. Okay, let's try this. He had to rebend my arm for me. So we're going to try this from this angle now. Okay, so now we can see that we have a lot of just, this doesn't even look like it is that color orange anymore, right? I mean, this is such a wonderful difference in color. And keep in mind that I'm not using these as a whole. Like this one I could. This one I think I might be okay if I were to use it as a journaling card base, right? Because now it's not in my face orange. What I want to do before I go a whole lot further is I am going to set these aside for just a second. And that one's like way wet. That needs a lot more drying. I'm going to set these aside for a second. I am going to mop up ink that's on the table because the next step that I want to do is add some acrylic splatters or just some ink splatters. I don't have to this one, I love this edge. I'm like probably going to peel that off and use it in a collage or something. But anyway, I might just use like my acrylic inks for splatter, but I definitely want to use up the ink that's on the table. So I'm just spraying a good amount of water all around. And I'm okay if it like feels like mud or looks like mud, because the moral of the story is we are mopping up those inks, okay? And I am going to just be mindful of what I'm touching over here. I'm going to get some just random pages over here out of my bin. I don't want to get, I don't want to just use plain white paper. I want to use up some scraps over here. Now, this would be a really great way to use my scrap bin. I could mop up with some scraps, right? Should I do that instead of this? No, because this is quicker. Even though this would be a really good way to add some interest to your scraps that are in your scrap bin. But then you have to just be able to dry them. And that's not what I'm doing right now. So these, you can see what's happening. I'm getting all that wonderful color off this table onto my paper. And what that is doing is just going to add some interest. And this is absolutely perfect how this is pulling these colors for the project that I'm attempting to start. So I'm going to get this done. And then it's so weird because these are the places that I would like normally turn the camera off and say, oh, I'm just going to finish this and I'll be right back. But oh, look at that. That's like, oh, so good. I am learning different ways to edit my videos, so that's part of this, is also just challenging myself to do that as well. And a little bit longer content. I don't need like a ton of 5-hour long videos, because who wants to listen to me for that long, right? But my channel's not going to survive on 20-minute videos. So, oh, that one's like really grungy. I'm going to dry these, see what we've got left. What do I do with those? It's not completely dry, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm just adding some more water to my table. And I want to be able to just mop more of this ink up, get really good interest on these book pages. And I'm only going to do these 3 because even though it is just 3 pages, it really is a lot of surface area that, and typically I use these atlas pages in collage. Sometimes I use them as pages in a journal. Actually, I should be mindful of how I'm saying what I'm saying. But it just gives me so much interest. I really enjoy it. I really like it. It's a great way to use up the inks that get into the void of your initial project, I guess, if I'm trying to put that in word. Obviously, I'm putting it in words. I'm speaking. Oh my goodness. Okay. When the rest of this, it's just starting to get like a mud on the table where it's the colors mixing together. And I don't mind the grunge of that, but I do not want my pages to not have depth and dimension to them. And then, like, I love this piece, actually. I love this piece a lot. It's got fantastic color. It's a really happy page. Very happy page. Okay, I need to go get some paper towels and just wipe up the rest of what's on the table. Now, I could also get a piece of tissue paper and use tissue paper to soak up the rest of this. Oh, look, isn't that beautiful? I could use tissue paper to soak up the rest of what is left here. Oh my gosh. And that would also be a good use of the inks. But I think at this point, I've mopped up a whole lot of what I was, trying to do. Let's see. I think I'm just going to do 2 of these and then really I'm done. I just have a really big struggle, especially with they're just so expensive. They just really are expensive. So I do have difficulty if I'm watching a YouTube video and somebody just uses the ink for what they're working on and then they just wipe it up. I'm like, no, that's all that ink. You can use that ink. What are you doing? Oh. So it just gets, and this tablecloth actually has texture to it, so some of the ink is like soaked down into the grooves, so that's also giving me, and see, it just gives your background some more interest. Yeah. Okay, paper towels. And I'm not worried about getting it exactly cleaned up because I actually like sometimes having the randomness of what's left over show up in the next project, but that is that love for the mixed media and the unexpected results. If you are like, no, if I come back and I want to spray pink and not have any of the browns or blues soaking through, then do make sure you're cleaning your table. And again, being mindful that I plan to use these through my die cutting machine. So even if the whole thing isn't covered, like I have the edges, well, I'm probably not going to worry about that because of how I intend to use these. So the next step that I want to do is come in with some splatter, and I think I want to use what do I want to use? Some black and definitely some black. I might do a little bit of white because that would be a little bit of interest, and some gold. I definitely want some gold or a bronze maybe. I have to see what I've got. Oh, I was going to do the inks, wasn't I? So that gives me actually a different color variety that we can use for the splatters for sure. So let's come in with, I'm looking at my color line here. Why don't we do some orange, Jody? Let's add some orange back in. No, we are not. I want to do some copper because of the project that I'm working on, and some black. And then we can make the determination if we want to come back in with orange. I mean, oh my gosh, white. We are not coming back in with orange, I promise. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be so funny? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh, I make myself laugh. Maybe don't make you guys laugh, but I make me laugh. Okay, I'm trying to be really careful with these because I really don't want to splatter the floor. To find my brush. I think my fan brush is going to need to get a replacement because I keep making a big mess out of it. need a pair of pliers up here. Does anybody else have these jars? I have such a hard time opening them. And it's like, if I've opened them recently, it's not that bad. But if I haven't opened them in a while, they almost get stuck, which I don't understand because there's not like sticky product on them or anything. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, there was a pool of water there. I don't know if that's showing up in the camera or not. And I'm okay with that. And I might come back in with some white splatter because what that's going to do is that's going to pull that ink and oxide up from the background and pull it to the top, or it should. Let me rephrase that. It should do that. Okay, so black splatters, and then I need to dry those, and we'll do some copper splatters. And I have to go wash my brush out. This one doesn't have any. I find splatters to be a really fickle thing because you have to have your brush wet enough that it will come off of it, but then not so wet that you lose the effect of your splatters, if that makes sense. And see, that one's running too. And again, that's having that water in there. But the nature of this project, I don't mind it being imperfect, and because I'm going to be cutting, I don't know if I'm just going to cut a bunch of flowers out of this, probably. I think that would be a really fun way to use them. But I want to, oh, see, that's soaking into all that oxide because it's ink and not actual paint. Somebody, I'm sure, was telling me that this wasn't going to work because my ink was going to soak in and not sit on the top. And I knew better. And I just need to hang a sign up that says, go get your acrylic, Jody. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do. And I do this a lot. It happened on the orange card too, because I had splattered it with the ink and it should have been paint, and that was my fault. Obviously that was my fault. Who else's fault is it going to be? Okay, so I went and washed my brush, and I have taken my heat tool to these a little bit, and I'm just getting extra where it didn't completely dry or where there was big pools of paint. I'm just coming in and mopping those up. And I'm not worried about perfection at all. And I'm reminding myself that I'm cutting these down, and I want little grungy flowers or bits of whatever it is I decide to die cut with these. So I have to, it's the freedom of making a mess for one thing. And so I really do enjoy that. And I think it's important, again, to allow ourselves the space to do these things. And for me, it's super helpful for my brain to get messy right now. I really want to work on this project. I have an idea, and I just haven't gotten that far. Oh, that's wild looking. That looks like I'm adding orange back in. This is like a bright copper. Okay, so it's much later, and I have die cut a variety of things. So this is a small set of numbers that I had found at clearance at Walmart, on clearance at Walmart, whatever. And so I have those. There's a little exclamation point, and I find that that's going to be a tedious little piece to keep track of with the little dot that goes with it. But it's there with the ampersand too, which I think is a cool feature. But if you can see here, you know, they have really neat interest as little tiny bits of pieces that we can use. And so I'm going to get my little number 10 out before I lose those, because they are so little, I don't want to lose them. So I just have a little 10 here with some number stuff in it. So I'm going to put those in here right away, rather than put them on my table and then try to put them away. We're just going to put them away. Okay. And then here is the set that I got for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. And there's a couple different colors because I did, one row of numbers out of one sheet, and then the others out of others. This was that lighter orange paper that I had done. So I'm really happy with the interest in these, and I think they'll ink up like with some scorched timber and inking those. They're going to really come out very, very nicely. I am not going to sit and ink them right now, but I will ink them as we go along. So they're going to go in the number 10 as well. I think I need a different number 10. This one's getting a little full just by all the little bits and pieces that I have in there. And then here's a random bird that was out of a set. I killed the other birds when I was trying to get something else out of the die. It was just a big hot mess. Big hot mess. And then these are like the inserts that came out of the numbers, the ovals that came out of some of the numbers. And I really liked those. And I thought, well, how cute would that be? Like maybe as a set of wings or something. And look, we can make a grungy little something. But anyway, I kept those and a couple teardrop shapes. I just like them for some interest, There's a couple of eyeballs we can use on something. I took my 3/4 inch punch and my 1 inch punch, and I punched circles in the bits. So I will show you the leftover bits in a minute. So quite a few of those. I don't have homes for those necessarily right now. For right now, I have my die cuts in this container, but that is not going to work long term for me with a different variety. Like if I'm looking for a flower, a bird, or a frame, I'd kind of like to have a more specific space for those. There's this butterfly, which I think turned out fabulous. I love that. I actually expected it to have dimension in it. I think that this goes with either a stamp or a die. I'm not sure, but I like it as a whole piece. I think it's super cool. For my friend, here's my waffle fry. And I really like that as a piece of interest. I think that I will only cut this out of things that I like desperately want to use, because that was actually very difficult to get out of the die. I have a variety of birds here. You guys know I love these little birds. It's just a little set I had gotten off of Amazon. There's more. Hi, where are you guys at? They're hiding in the pile. So a lot of variety in colors with them, and really interesting to me how as a whole some of these sheets I didn't really like, and even like this bird, the orange is showing through, but I don't mind it too much. I hope that's translating. I can't tell with the lighting. I'm still over here on the side table, so I should have put you back on the big table. I didn't, but learning curve. And then I have a wonderful variety of flowers here that I got. And these are just the Tim Holtz flowers that I use. I don't remember what it's called, and I already put it away. Had a little bit of trouble with the really thin stems on a few of these, trying to get them out in one piece, but that's okay because especially that one, I could just use it in parts. But really some wonderful interest on the variety of flowers. Really happy with this. And so I've taken that orange cardstock and look at the beautiful pieces that we have to work with. So I definitely encourage you to get your stuff out and play. See, these are another thing that they get super tangled and they need a different way to be stored. So that is something I am trying to figure out a storage solution for these things so that I have them, I know where they are, I can mass cut like this and have them at hand and not have to worry about them getting super damaged in the little catch-all bin I've got going on right now. Then we have what's left. I can't even get it untangled. I mean, there really isn't a lot of waste here. I really tried to maximize what I could get out of the sheet. So you can see where I cut the flowers, a bird, had another butterfly. It was too delicate. I couldn't get it out. I damaged it. But anyway, so, and then like this end, I'm not worried about that. It's really orange. I'm not concerned about it, but I really tried to get in and use the bits, and I'm trying to tell myself I don't need to tear that off and put it in the scraps, but it's a really pretty piece. So no, just put it in the garbage. The goal was to reduce the scrap bin. I have accomplished that. I've got some wonderful pieces to work with. You know, I've got like this is super cool. Like, I really like this piece. And actually that may be one way to use that die. That's the waffle fry die, is to cut it out of a piece and keep the actual die and the negative space itself. Is that the right word? The negative space? Anyway, because I think that would be like a cool frame around something. I kept these because they cut really clean and I thought they would be cool bits on a page as just a frame or something, or just some interest. So I kept those. Again, more pieces that I cut as much as I could out of it to maximize using that space. It's kind of difficult to do it, you know, and use every last little bit of paper, but when we're die cutting, we're not using every last little bit anyway. This one, I was hoping to be able to keep it like as an interesting piece, but it pulled, so I don't know. I just get rid of it. And then what else? That one, and if my birds weren't so close, I probably would have kept this as an entire piece because I think that would make a cool pocket, or even just to glue that down for some texture under something like in a project would be really, really cool for texture. But I'm trying to talk myself into throwing that one away. And this one I am going to throw away. And this one I actually could put down as interest. So that's a maybe as well. Okay, and then what is left, you say? I kept these pieces. I really like the edge of this. I think that's going to make like a really cool pocket or something. I really like it a lot. I kind of wish I would have gone ahead and torn like another edge so that it would be a neat pocket, and have all of that. I just really like that piece, so I didn't cut it up. This is the card I said I thought would make like a nice journaling card. I didn't mind the orange, and again, I can ink that. This was that random piece of yellow that got put in, and I really like how it turned out. So I didn't cut it up yet, and I did not cut these up yet. I wanted to give myself options if I'm working on a specific project and needing maybe a die I didn't cut in this video to use the bits. I have some options. So my little die cut bin is getting full. So if you guys have suggestions for me with this, I would really appreciate it. I don't want to damage them, but for right now, this is where I know that they are. And these flowers, and I've thrown up, I can't tell you how many flowers I've thrown away because they get all tangled up and I get tired of fussing trying to get them apart. So anyway, that is the video today. So I really hope that you learned something and you enjoyed it. It's going to take me a long time to edit it. So hopefully you'll be able to see with the different setup. I will try to figure out a different way to use the camera on this table, because for this purpose, I have more room actually. And it worked really well for me to do the make. The challenge is the filming to share the make with you. So anyway, okay, well, thank you so much. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know, is this something that you have done? Is it something now that you think you want to try? Let me know in the comments below. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.